Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Merna Wolf, and you're listening to Happy Ask. How are you doing, my darlings? Oh, I miss seeing people, don't you? It just, there's so much time on our hands to mull and ruminate and contemplate. You can drive yourself a little crazy, but I've been doing 5 decades of life on planet crazy review as one can with all this extra time at home alone, and it was sort of triggered into thinking about the topic of advice by the posting of a Facebook meme from an acquaintance. A lot of Facebook friends are really acquaintances, but that's a topic for another day, isn't it? And in any case, she had posted this piece of wisdom, which I so wish I'd had in my 20s, would have saved me and some other parties a lot of heartbreak, which was, do yourself a favor and interpret mixed signals as a no. I thought it was genius. Now, the quote was not attributed to anyone in particular on this meme. People do these types of things, but whoever said it, you're a genius, and I wish I'd met you on my 20th birthday. That's all I can say about that. But it did set me to thinking about some of the great advice you get in a lifetime and some of the really poor advice you get, and whether you take it or not, you kind of never forget it. I used to remember hearing back in the way back, if it feels good, do it, which instantly struck me as it sounds fun but disastrous if you want to know the truth. I think the kind of carnage that could break out if you follow that advice, say past the age of 35. If it feels good, do it. Maybe give that one a think. The other one that stuck out for me was I used to love to buy, back in the day when we saw each other's feet and cared about such things, nice leather shoes. I won't lie, I liked my good fancy shoes, and had an aunt that told me if they're too tight, Myrna, just pour boiling hot water in them and leave them overnight, which just it sounded like the craziest thing. And she insisted every time we spoke, and not like I was complaining about my shoes every time I spoke with her, but this seemed to be her kind of cri de coeur for how to get through this thing called life. So pour boiling hot water in a very nice pair of shoes sounds like almost sadistic if you want to know the truth. But what are you gonna do? The best piece of advice I ever got came from a waitress. Now, we all know these are the wise women of our culture, and one of the reasons I miss dining out is well, I guess they're called servers now, but at a certain point, waitress was a kind of a tough and gritty and sexy kind of moniker that you were kind of happy to have. But I digress. So I used to frequent this much beloved and now shuttered Hungarian restaurant in the city where I lived. And I went in and I sat down in the booth. I think it was early on in my patronage of this place. And I was confronted with a 14-page menu, which overwhelmed me completely. And so, like the youngster that I was, I said to the waitress, "What's good?" And she gave me that kind of look that only a waitress can give you. And she just looked at me and she said, "Always trust your instincts," and walked away. And there she left me probably the most useful piece of advice I've ever received. Always trust your instincts. I've applied it to numerous situations and conundrums in my journey, and I pass it along to you because that's what I do. I share with you my life experience, and hard won some of it, and some of it came as easily as a pithy pearl from a waitress in a Hungarian restaurant. So there you have that. The other thing that I was told when I was younger, I was much obsessed with who I liked and who liked me, and who got on my nerves, who annoyed me, who pissed me off, frankly. And I spent a lot of energy worrying about these types of things, which is the liberty of post-menopausal era in one's life. But that's a topic for another day too, the freedom of it all. But someone, an elder, pointed out to me, I hate to give credit to this person because she was an otherwise difficult figure in my life, but she did say to me, Merna, while you're so busy worrying about who's annoying you, fairly or unfairly, and who you dislike, just remember that you are that person for someone else. The sight of you aggravates the hell out of someone else on this planet, just because. So, and that, that really settled me down. So I wanted to share that one. It's a little tricky because of course we're not really having as much face-to-face contact with our fellow humans, but we all know social media, you can get annoyed by someone you never even met and have ideas about them. But just remember, if you can remember two things: you are someone else's deepest annoyance, and that I love you to bits. Talk soon.